Harris, Plant City, and unincorporated Hillsborough County. The Planning Commission provides innovative leadership and long-range vision that contributes to the creation of a thriving, prosperous community that offers opportunity, fairness, and choice in how we live, move, learn, work, and play. For more information about the Planning Commission, please call 813-272-5940. Follow us on social media or visit our website at planhillsborough.org.
Good evening and welcome to the June 13th, 2022 public hearings of the Planning Commission on the City of Plant City Comprehensive Plan Amendments. We thank you for attending this meeting. Your comments and participation is encouraged. To minimize feedback in the audio, all participants in the meeting will be muted until it is their opportunity to speak. Planning commissioners should turn on their mics or raise their hands or otherwise grab my attention if you'd like to speak. Please be sure to state your name at the beginning of your remarks for the benefit of the clerk. There will be an opportunity for members of the public to provide comments. When your name is called, you will be unmuted when it is your turn to speak. Please wait until the chair calls on you to begin speaking. State your name at the beginning of your comments and adhere to the time limits. If anyone has difficulties or is watching via HTV and would like to provide comments to be included in the record for local government hearing, please email them to planner@plancom.org. That's planner@plancom.org. For those of you who are not familiar with our process, the meeting will be conducted as follows. The agenda item will be introduced. Staff will give their presentation with a 15-minute time limit. The applicant will be given the opportunity to make a presentation with a 15-minute time limit. Following presentations, members of the public may address the Planning Commission when recognized by the chair. Public comment will be heard for 3 minutes per person. The applicant will be afforded a 3-minute period for rebuttal or response. Planning commissioners will ask questions. Public comment will be closed. Then upon a motion, a second, and discussion, a vote will be taken. With that, I'd like to ask the clerk to go ahead and call roll.
Good evening. Bernstein?
Here.
Buzza?
Here.
Cardenas?
Here.
Fernandez?
Here.
Andy? Andy? Kress?
Here.
Loic? Loic? Powell?
Here.
Saria?
Here.
Orton?
Here.
Rodriguez? Rodriguez? Joseph?
Here. Note,
Thank
clerk,
you, everyone.
I think you called Commissioner Handy's name, or Commissioner, was that right? Commissioner Handy? Okay. Did he get you, Fernandez? Okay. Sorry. Sorry for the interruption. Keep going.
That's all. You have a quorum.
Thank you. All right. Our first item of business is action item A, PCCPA 22-02 Future Land Use Map Amendment, East Park Road, southeast of Baker Street, and the presenter is Krista Kelly.
Pardon me. Thank you, Commissioners. Krista Kelly, Planning Commission staff. There's two of them. Pardon me. Grabbed the wrong one. There we go. Thank you very much. Again, Krista Kelly, Planning Commission staff. Today I'm presenting to you Plant City Future Land Use Map Amendment, CPA 2202. As you can see on the Plant City Vision map and the two gold stars, the site's located in the eastern portion of Greater Plant City. The site is located also in an area identified and recognized on the Vision map as an existing and emerging industrial area. It's quite hard to see, but it looks like a gray starburst. And if I can point it out for you, these markings indicate those areas. Give you the specific location, the site's located east of Park Road, south of East Baker Street, otherwise referred to as US 92, west of Wiggins Road, and northeast of Cornett Road. This is an aerial giving you a better view of the context and the existing uses in the area. The blue shaded area identifies the amendment sites, which is comprised of 5 individual parcels. The sites are located on the periphery of the Plant City city limits, which is represented by the reddish-brown line here. The site is also on the periphery of the boundary of Lakeside Station, which is a mixed-use planned development or planned community. These sites are proposed for voluntary annexation or in that process currently. The site is also, the individual sites are undeveloped. The property appraiser identifies them as either vacant or pasture land. The site, again, to your north is the Lakeside Station planned community. It does provide for industrial and logistical uses, which you see developed here. At the intersection of Park Road and East Baker Street, there are warehouses, distribution center, and a lumber supply yard. The remaining area is open at this time and used for agricultural purposes, it appears. South of these properties, you see the Cornett Mine property. This property is a vacated phosphate mine. Currently, it is inactive due to environmental concerns. Redevelopment plans have not been submitted at this time. There's one additional grouping of property. It's this long, narrow strip. It's parallel with Wiggins Road. Between Wiggins Road and this strip, there is an existing residential community. They're rural residential style lots ranging from half an acre to upwards of 10 acres. To give you some background, this is a privately initiated map amendment, and again, it's comprised of 5 properties, and these properties are in the process of being voluntarily annexed into Plant City. They total 62.12 acres approximately, and the request is to change the land use classifications from the Hillsborough County designation to the Plant City designation to reflect the annexation and to be consistent with the Plant City future land use map. The proposed change is to change 52 acres of light industrial and approximately 10 acres of residential 2 from the Hillsborough category to the Plant City designation. It's not a one-to-one conversion. It would be 54 acres of industrial use and 8 acres of residential 4. First, I'm focusing on the industrial-related properties. As you can see, the unincorporated area is circled, and the properties involved with the industrial land use. Currently, they're designated light industrial. If you go north within Plant City, that entire area is designated mixed-use residential, commercial, industrial. That recognizes the underlying Lakeside Station plan development. The proposed map, while the color doesn't change because it is the identical color as the county's color for industrial, although it is identified or referred to as just straight industrial, includes these 3 properties. In addition, a small portion of a 2-acre plus parcel to the east in this area. Okay. Currently, the impact of the change in industrial land use would be the reduction in the floor area ratio from 0.75 to 0.50. This would result in a 31% reduction in the maximum potential for industrial square footage and the associated traffic impacts. Overall, the reduction would be a decrease of 524 square feet of industrial land use. Moving on to the residential land use category, currently the area is designated in the county residential 2, and the applicant is requesting that the amendment change the land use category to residential 4 on this long narrow strip. And again, it's very hard to see, but it's a darker orange color. This provides a nice transition between the residential area and the Lakeshore Station community, and it also is reflective of residential 4 in the surrounding area, Implant City. Residential 4 is the least intense residential density allowed in Plant City. The impact of this change would be essentially the increase in density from 2 units to 4 dwelling units per gross acre. Overall, it would be an increase of 13 units from 19 dwelling units currently allowed to 32 dwelling units. Okay, this is an overview, and I included this slide to give you your bearings because we were going to provide some street view photographs of the area. So you see Baker Street at the north, Park Road to the west, Cornet Road to the south, and then Wiggins Road to the east. So this is a street view looking south down Park Road from the intersection of Park Road and East Baker Street. The subject property is behind this wooded area, fairly central to the project area. Going further down Park Road, this is the intersection on Park Road to Cornet Road. And again, the subject area would be in this area quite a ways back. It's such a large property, it's hard to show you specifically. This is looking north from Cornet Road towards the project area. Going back to the intersection of Park Road and East Baker Street, this is looking east down Baker Street, and you can see the character of the area changes distinctly with a lot of retail and light industrial uses lining the roadway. Lakeside Station being on the right-hand side and unincorporated county on the west. As you proceed down East Baker Street, it intersects with Wiggins Road. Looking south down Wiggins Road, you see that the area reflects an existing rural residential community, homes on large lots. It's very open and pleasant. Staff reviewed the proposed amendment for consistency with the Plant City Comprehensive Plan as it related and found it consistent with the following related sections: with non-residential development, enhanced home time charm, annexation policies, general development, redevelopment strategies, the provision of public facilities, and economic growth. All of these policies are in your packet for your review. We distributed this amendment request to our review agencies and partners, and the comments received of note, the school district noted that school capacity would be addressed through the concurrency review process at the time of plating or rezoning. Transportation comments were received, noting again that transportation issues would be addressed at the rezoning stage. Plant City's utility department noted that water and wastewater services can be supplied and made available with the capacity on hand. The presence of wetland on a portion of the site was noted by EPC, and EPC noted that they regulate protection of these resources at the time of development. The schedule for this plan amendment following this meeting would be to forward your recommendation to the Planning Board and Plant City on June 22nd and to the Plant City Commission on July 25th. Following the transmittal of this amendment to the state for state comment, it would return back to Plant City, and that date has yet to be determined. Based on this information, Planning Commission staff recommends that CPA 2202 be found consistent with the goals, objectives, and policies of Imagine 2040 Plant City's comprehensive plan and forwards this recommendation to the Plant City Commission. And that concludes my presentation, and the applicant's representative is here also to provide some information in a presentation. Okay.
Thank you. Good afternoon. Isabel Albert with Half Associates. Okay, thank you. So basically, I'm going to go through this quickly. This is a comp plan amendment for the Lakeside Station PD. This is a big, large PD in Plant City. It's a mixed-use development for industrial, commercial, and residential uses. So what we have before you is for these 5 parcels highlighted in yellow, and we're doing 3 processes. We're doing a comp plan amendment, we're doing a PD amendment, and we're doing an annexation. So this involves numerous process and timelines and everything, but the thing is, these are located in Hillsborough County and part of the plan development. They'll be annexed into the city. Therefore, we need to do a land use amendment to have city designation for these parcels. So we have the light industrial county, as you know, is the mine, and it's being converted to to industrial comprehensive plan designation. And the Res 2 area, in order to adjust the capacity, I forgot the word I was trying to say, sorry. But for the Res 2, we're doing a plan amendment to the most northern portion to the Res 4, as seen on the next page. And my line went over, but as Krista said, this area here is also going to be Plant City light. I wrote light industrial, but it's industrial land use designation. The overall land use designation for the Lakeside Station is, as I said, mixed use. It's a residential, commercial, and industrial mixed use plan development. Staff report and found it consistent with the comprehensive plan, and there was no reviewing agencies that did not support this. So I'm here if you have any questions. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, we did not receive anyone sign up for public comment on this item, so I will go ahead and turn it over to the commissioners for comments on this item. Questions from the commissioners? Not seeing it. Yes, Commissioner Orton, please.
I was wondering, how will you access the number 5 strip? Because I didn't see that. Maybe I just couldn't see it on the aerial. And then how wide is that strip if you're going to put residential on it?
So as being part of the plan development, and I have a concept plan to show this area, there's no development occurring there. All these parcels are actually being used for retention, and one of them is for the road. But for this area, there's a huge wetland on the northern side, and so therefore that's not going to be touched. The plan development main access is from the west, and there's all internal access. As part of the plan development previously, we had an approved access on the east side. However, that portion is still in the Hillsborough County, and therefore we have to go through Hillsborough County. That's the 4th process, through Hillsborough County to make a zoning change in order to get that an allowable use for the access.
So even though you're changing that strip from residential 2 to residential 4, you will not be using it?
No,
Okay.
no, it's just because we're incorporating into the Plant City, therefore we have to designate a Plant City land use. And they don't have a Res 4, their closest they have is they don't have a Res 2, the closest they have is a Res 4. So that's the only purposes of why we're doing this. Thank you.
All right, were there any more questions or comments from the commissioners on this item? Not seeing any at this time. I will go on ahead and close the public comment on this item and open it up to motions from the commissioners. Commissioner Buzza.
Thank you, Chairman. I move that we have CPA 22-02 consistent with the Imagine 2040 plan, Plant City, and forward to the Plant City Commission.
Hang on.
If we can just wait 1 second, the clerk, something's happened on the WebEx, and we're not sure the clerk is getting all of this.
Oh.
So if we can just wait just
Pause,
one
yeah.
moment.
Hi, Planning Commission. This is the clerk. The audio feed cut off right after Ms. Albert finished her presentation. There's about a few minute block there where I didn't have communication. If we have a previous recording from HTV or from YouTube, that wouldn't be a problem.
Okay, they're going to be able to get you the recording, Joe, for that block that you missed, but apparently they need about 5 minutes to fix whatever's going wrong with the
Okay.
WebEx. So, maybe
Should we just pause for 5 minutes?
yeah, let's do that.
Recess. Welcome back, everyone. All right. Hopefully everything's good with HTV now. All right. We will pick it up then at the close of the public comment and the opening of motions. And I believe it was to you, Commissioner Buzza? Hang on just a moment. Let us all get back to our spots. All right. Mike.
I move that we find Plant City CPA 22-02 consistent with Imagine 2040 and forward on to the Plant City Commission.
All right, I have a motion of consistency finding by Commissioner Buzza on PCCPA 22-02. Is there a second?
Second.
A second by Commissioner Fernandez to that consistency finding. Is there any more discussion on this item by the commissioners? Any more comments? Not seeing any lights in the room. I will ask the clerk to go ahead and do a roll call vote on this item.
Bernstein?
Yes.
Buzza?
Yes.
Cardenas,
Yes.
Fernandez,
Yes.
Kress,
Yes.
Powell, Soria,
Yes.
Joseph,
Yes.
motion carried 7-0.
Thank you. All right, thank you for the information and the presentation from the applicant. Our next item up for business is 2B, PCCPA 21-09, Future Land Use Map Amendment, east of James L. Redmond Parkway, south of East Trapnel Road, and the presenter is Krista Kelly.
Again, thank you, Krista Kelly, Planning Commission staff. I'm presenting to you Plant City Future Land Use Map Amendment, CPA 2109. Again, this is the Plant City vision map, and you see the site identified by the gold star at the southern portion of Greater Plant City. The site specifically is located east of James L. Redmond Parkway, also referred to as State Road 39, south of Trapnel Road and west of Bug Road and north of Kilgore Road. This is an aerial of the site outlined in pink. The site is predominantly used for agricultural purposes. The property appraiser identifies it as pasture land. There are a number of home sites within the project area and a number of agricultural buildings as well. The site and the surrounding area is characterized by rural and agricultural uses. There appears to be an established residential development pattern on the northeast and southern portion of the area. To the west of the site, the area is predominantly open, and it terminates at the Parkway area along James L. Redmond. This is a privately initiated amendment. Again, it's comprised of 6 parcels or properties. It totals 117 acres approximately in size. All the parcels are pending a voluntary annexation. The request is to change the Hillsborough County Hillsborough County land use category from residential 1 to Plant City's residential category 4. This is the adopted future land use map, and the site, as it is adopted in unincorporated county, the site is residential 1 in light green, as is the surrounding area. To the west, the blue or purple color you see is the mixed weight, is within Plant City's jurisdiction and is classified as a mixed-use district or a gateway. The site abuts the city limits on the western side. The white area is a transitional area. It currently retains a county designation pending a change to a Plant City designation as the subject property is seeking. This is the adopted future land use map showing the site changed to the residential 4 category in Plant City. This is the lowest intensity land use category. It provides a compatible and complementary buffer between the gateway district to the west and northwest. The gateway district allows densities up to 16 units per acre and a floor area ratio of up to 0.35 square feet. The residential 4 is strictly for residential use. Non-residential uses aren't permitted, and it's a nice transition and buffer between the mix of land uses in the gateway and buffering the agricultural areas surrounding it outside of the city limits. The proposed change to R4 would essentially increase the density from 1 unit to 4 units per acre. Currently, 117 dwelling units could be developed on this site. It would increase to 471 dwelling units. The increase in density would allow for the potential of an additional 354 dwelling units. This is a street view leading up to the site. This is looking north on James L. Redmond Parkway towards Trapnel Road. Up here, the site again is to the right or east area. This is a view looking at that intersection. You can see it's a little bit of a commercial activity center. There are a number of businesses in the near proximity to, including this convenience store and other retail uses further north. The subject property again is in the further east across this intersection and on the south side of Trapnel Road. This is on Trapnel Road looking at the subject property, looking south towards Kilgore Road across the subject property. And then in the reverse, this is looking from the southern boundary from Kilgore Road at the subject property. You can see it's a lot of open space. Again, it is currently identified as pasture land by the property appraiser. This is Kilgore Road, where there is an established residential development pattern. The lots range in size, generally 1 acre or greater in this area. Staff reviewed it for consistency with the comprehensive plan and found it consistent with the policies related to neighborhood conservation, residential development, enhanced hometown charm, community development, growth management as it relates to general development and redevelopment, the provision of public facilities, compatibility, intergovernmental coordination, and intergovernmental coordination. Staff also distributed this amendment for agency comments, and the school district noted that, again, school capacity would be addressed through the concurrency review process closer to the time of development, and that is mirrored by transportation. Transportation issues would be addressed at the site plan development stage in coordination with Hillsborough County. The Utilities Department with Plant City noted that there is available capacity to serve water and wastewater in this area. And EPC noted that there is a presence of wetland on the portion of the site and that it would be regulated at the time of development. The schedule, as per the previous amendment, it's going to the planning board on June 22nd with your recommendation. The City Commission is scheduled for July 25th, and once it returns from the state with state comments, the date for the City Commission adoption hearing will be set. Based on these findings of our review, Planning Commission staff recommends that CPA 2109 be found consistent with the goals, objectives, and policies of Imagine 2040 Plant City Comprehensive Plan, and to forward this recommendation to the Plant City Commission. And that concludes my presentation, and the applicant representative is here to speak to you.
Yep, come on.
Good evening, Kevin Reale for the applicant. Our presentation, we have one available, but it's largely duplicative of the staff's presentation. So just point out that we agree with the staff's presentation. Want to note again that what we propose, we believe, is a good transition from the mixed-use gateway to the larger lot residential further to the east. And we're available to answer any questions if you all should have any.
Thank you. All right, we do have a couple people signed up for the public comment on this item, and they are joining us virtually. All right, so I'll just go in order here. First, I have David Parks.
Yes, you got me?
Yes, please go ahead. You have 3 minutes.
All right, this is David Parks. I'm an adjacent landowner, and I've had a chance to review the application packet you're considering today. Written feedback was provided both to the Plant City Rezoning Department and the City County Planning Commission staff on June 2nd. The feedback provided had 3 requested considerations. One was an internal density transition zone, a substantial buffer, and protection of natural areas in accordance with the Plant City ordinances. The Southwind site plan indicates the density will be 2.42 dwelling units per acre in this development. That's a misleading number, as the density of the lots along the perimeter are going to be around 1/5 of an acre in size. That's a density of around 5 houses per acre. All of my lots that adjoin the proposed land use change are developed at a density of 1 dwelling per acre or less. Changing the land use accommodates a dramatic change in the density at the edge of my property, and I believe consideration should be made for the surrounding and adjacent landowners that have already developed their properties. Density transition should be provided within the new development rather than pushing the higher density right to the edge of the development. And I understand the developer is suggesting a buffer around their development. They're proposing a 10-foot buffer that's relatively insignificant. I think too much focus has been placed on how this development facilitates the mixed-use gateway and not enough on how it impacts the existing residents that surround it. When I purchased this property in 2012, I considered the future land use of all the neighboring properties. And while I was certain this property would eventually be developed, it was with a published future land use of 1 house per acre, not 4 or more. 1 house per acre was and is a density that I would say is compatible with the existing residential development surrounding this proposed development. Changes of the future land use without consideration for interior transition ignores the investment and the lifestyle choices of neighbors who've made the purchase based on expectation the future land use be followed. Hillsborough County zoning for all properties surrounding the Southwind plan development is AS1. Nearly all lots are built out at 1 house per acre and are established, many with agricultural uses. We own and raise farm animals out here, and many of our neighbors do. And we can relay that farm animals don't typically have modesty, volume control, or good timing, but that's our way of life and is typical of agricultural land ownership. The application as submitted sets the stage for neighbors in conflict in the future when Hillsborough County, Plant City, and the developer will have completed their involvement. In summary, I don't agree with the Plant City Commission staff finding that the density allowed by the proposed land use should not result in compatibility issues. There are compatibility issues with the existing developed properties that border this future land use change. And I depend on boards like the Planning Commission to steer compatible development. I don't support the recommendation to be forwarded to the Plant City Commission for the change to R4. I'm for private landowner rights, but not at the expense of the adjacent landowner rights. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Parks. All right, next up on our list, sign-up list for public comment, we have Mandy Parks, also joining us virtually, hopefully. Mandy Parks, yes, I see her on the line.
Yes, thank you. Mandy Parks. In addition to concerns on density and compatibility, I oppose the planned permanent impact to the natural area abutting the parcel ending in 5504 as shown on the Southwind site plan, specifically the impact to the existing large specimen trees and the probable wetland when the Plant City Code of Ordinances calls for preservation wherever possible. A note on the annexation survey states that this natural area to be impacted is, quote, a probable wetland area, no data collected per client's instructions, end quote. This is consistent with my knowledge in hand that there is no tree survey, no topographical data, or formal wetland determination supplied with the proposed site plan for this area. This is concerning given that this natural area clearly shows up on historical maps of the area back to 1938 and even in a hand-drawn map of the area from 1848. The staff report discusses the protection of some wetlands on site and that these natural amenities will provide an additional natural buffer between these parcels and the property's designated mixed-use gateway. It is disappointing there is more focus on the natural buffer with the mixed-use gateway than for us, the residents who currently reside adjacent to a natural area to be permanently impacted per the site plan turned into the Plant City Zoning Department. Today, you've received a staff recommendation, a quote, consistent with the Imagine 24 Plant City Comprehensive Plan. Reading the verbiage of the Plant City Comprehensive Plan, it is difficult to imagine what would be needed to be proposed to be considered, quote, not consistent. I want to read from the closed captioning of the February 14, 2022 Planning Commission regular meeting regarding the Plan Hillsborough 2021 annual report. From the captioning and attributed to Commissioner Handy, quote, I find it interesting. The significant findings from the study include resounding majority, 91% of the rural residents feel that Hillsborough County should limit development to protect agriculture and the environment. I think that's a huge part of what we do here and what we see every time we see a plan amendment. And just strikes me that maybe that's not what we're accomplishing. Even those few we looked at in Plant City, no, they're not in the city yet, but it's just whittling away at something that clearly right here within our own agency, 91% of rural residents have said enough is enough. So I think let's pay attention to that, I guess is my comment, end quote. I could not agree more with Commissioner Handy about the need to pay attention to the whittling away of agriculture and the environment. I ask how approval of this flu amendment is in alignment with the voice of the people who spoke for unincorporated Hillsborough County. I do not agree with the City Planning Commission staff finding that the density allowed by the proposed land use should not result in compatibility issues internally or lands that immediately abut it. And because of this, I do not support the recommendation to be forwarded to the Plant City Commission for a flu change to R4. I am for private landowner rights, but not at the expense of the quality of life of adjacent landowners or the environment. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Parks. All right, those are the only two we had signed up from the public for public comment. I asked Mr. Reale or one of the applicant's representatives to give a response if they would like.
Again, Kevin Reale for the record. And just briefly in response, it sounds like the couple that spoke were looking at the PD plan application that's also been submitted. There's an annexation, comp plan amendment, and PD plan. And you know, those are issues separate from the future land use category. To point out what staff said, that what's proposed is the lowest residential category in the in the Plant City Comprehensive Plan, and it will provide a transition to those larger lot residential that will remain to the east. Because of the 16 dwelling units per acre allowed in the mixed-use gateway, 4 units what we're proposing per acre in the middle, which will be less likely because of design constraints, and then a larger lot residential to the east. Buffer, design, EPC, all those things will have to be dealt with at the zoning, planning, and permitting phase.
All right, thank you. I will turn it over to the commissioners now for questions or comments. Commissioner Orton.
I have a question, and it is regarding the annexation, but I believe annexing into the city of Plant City, you are using their land use, so I believe it is important. In this annexation, you're leaving an enclave. Do you have an interlocal with the city and county regarding public services? Because if there's an accident or anything, and public services need to get to that enclave that you are creating, that becomes a public health and safety issue.
So the boundary for the annexation application is different than what's being presented today. Not all, we have neighbors join in on the annexation application, but it's not part of the development, so it's not part of this. So no enclaves will be created on the annexation, and those will have to come in for a future map amendment when they permit or rezone or change in the future.
Go ahead.
It looks like on the map that we're shown that there is an enclave. And if everything is being annexed except for that parcel.
Is this the area?
Yes,
Yes. This is being annexed.
It is also being
Yes.
annexed. It's just not shown on this map.
Correct. This is just the boundary for the future land use change. The annexation boundary includes additional property, including this property here, property to the north, and then we're attempting to get some more property, but there are issues that basically one of the property owners is okay, but we have to get the other property owner to join.
So the land use change you are requesting tonight includes this parcel?
The land use only includes what's here in the boundary. So this, let's see if I can find the mouse. This area here will become a transitional area, just like the area to the west of that. It's not going to be part of it's not part of this application, and it won't be part of the zoning application.
But it will be annexed into the city.
But it will be annexed into the city, yes.
Okay.
Thank you, Commissioner Orton. Are there any more questions from the commissioners or comments on this item? Not seeing Commissioner Fournette.
Yeah, I'm just looking at the area, and, you know, most lots surrounding this property are like 2 acres, even the residential ones. You know, the gateway area, to me, looks like a bunch of forest at the moment. I don't really see a transition going into this lot, and I mean, just looking at the area, there's no subdivision-type developments here. I see a lot of farms, and I see a lot of really low-density residential, so I just don't think a project like this fits with our transportation issues. I mean, you know, where the congestion it might cause, adding 300, 400, 500 single-family homes in an area that just doesn't look like it's built for it at the moment. So that's all I got.
Commissioner Buzzer, sorry.
Just wanted to address that. There is a subdivision for Meritage Homes on the northwest corner of the intersection, and they're also starting across the street. So that Meritage Homes is already underway. This map is a little on the old side. Site work's already done, I believe. So
Yeah, it's just not going to get my support just because something else is maybe neighboring it. That's the start of a takeover of nonstop sprawl in the area, so I just don't have my support.
Thank you both. Are there any more? Yes. Ms.
I
Juanita.
just wanted to add that if a property is annexed into the city, we have to give it a land use category. The city of Plant City does not have any lower density land use category. So, as they indicated, they're you know, they may come in for a development that's not at the 4 units per acre, but that's the category that we have in the plan to give it.
All right, were there any more questions? Yes, Commissioner Soria.
I have a question. Once the annexation of the property, which is a different map, is that the first process or the second process after the designation of the residential being changed from the Hillsborough County RES to RES4? And if that's the case, for example, some of the property you mentioned, it would be a TA. So the areas which are after annexation, it goes into TA and then goes into residential 4, or how would that process work?
So the City of Plant City's policy right now is to take before their city commission all 3 packages at the same time. This package takes longer to process than the others, so it's the one that goes before hearings first. And then when we go to our final hearings, they will all be taken together. The transitional area for the property that is not part of this comprehensive plan amendment application will remain transitional area until the applicant or until a future landowner comes in to redevelop that. It's speculation, but given its proximity to the mixed-use gateway, that there's potential that could be requested at a different density or maybe at the same density as R4. I don't know, because they're not selling to the developer here.
Thank you.
All right. Are there any more questions or discussions, comments from the commissioners on this item?
well, and I will say I was actually on the Plant City board when we did the gateway concept. That was a long time ago. Tells you how old I am. And the impetus for the development southward in Plant City was, or lack of impetus was lack of utilities. The city just invested a fair amount of money in running water and sewer all the way down to, I think they stopped at Kilgore, but they'll continue on south. And the vision was to do the mixed retail office and then residential just behind. And with the Meritage property and this property, it's starting to come to fruition. I think that this is a great opportunity for Plant City, and it has my support.
Thank you, Commissioner Buzza. Are there any more comments or discussion from the commissioners? Going once. All right, then I will go ahead and close public comment on this item and open the floor up to motions from the commissioners on this item. Commissioner Buzza.
I move that we find Pcca 21-09 consistent with the Imagine 2040 Plant City Comprehensive Plan and forward to the Plant City Commission.
All right, that's Commissioner Bernstein.
I'll second that motion.
All right, we have a motion for consistency finding by Commissioner Buzza, a second to that motion by Commissioner Bernstein. Are there any more comments or discussions from the commissioners at this time? Seeing none, I'll ask that the clerk go ahead and do a roll call vote on this item.
Bernstein?
Yes.
Buzza?
Yes.
Cardenas?
Yes.
Fernandez?
No.
Kress?
Yes.
Powell?
Yes.
Thuria?
Yes.
Joseph?
Yes.
Motion carried 7-1. Commissioner Fernandez voted no.
Thank you. All right, thank you for the information. Thank you to the applicant for your time. We will move on to our next item. It is 2C Pcca 22-01, Future Land Use Map Amendment, east of Charlie Taylor Road, north of East Baker Street, US 92, and the presenter is Mark Hudson.
Good evening, Mark Hudson, Planning Commission staff. This is the last plan amendment for you to hear this evening, and the last plan amendment that we're processing for the city of Plant City this cycle. As Chris's presentations in the past, we start out by showing you the vision map of Plant City and how this project relates to it. This is located in the northeast quadrant of Plant City, as you can see indicated by the yellow star. This is also within the Northeast Plant City Area Master Plan, and I'll note that later in my presentation. The location more specifically is east of Charlie Taylor Road, north of East Baker Street, which is also known as US 92, west of North Wiggins Road, and south Frontage Road. This is an aerial of the site. You see at this point it is relatively undeveloped, used for agricultural uses. This aerial is a little bit outdated. There is a major industrial park that is being developed to the north and to the east, and I'll share some photos of that in a moment. You can see this is an area that is pending voluntary annexation as the previous plan amendment, and you can see the boundaries of Plant City and Hillsborough County shown by the dashed blue line. South of this site are some industrial and commercial uses in unincorporated county, and then agricultural uses to the east. And if you go further east along Wiggins Road, this are large lot residential development. So a little bit of background. It's privately initiated. Unlike the previous two, this is a small-scale plan amendment coming in at just under 10 acres. The current land use, like the previous ones, at least the previous plan amendment, as Hillsborough County Residential 1. The applicant wants to bring this into the PD for the development to the north and to the east, north and the west. And give it a similar plan category, Plant City Industrial, and also to bring it into the I-4 Tech Corridor overlay. So here is the adopted future land use map as it stands today. Again, you can see inside of Plant City to the north and to the west is the gray industrial colors indicating those industrial uses. The plan amendment area boundaries surrounded by the black dashed line has the light green color of Hillsborough County Residential 1, allowing 1 unit per acre. To the south is Hillsborough County Residential 4, based on their locational criteria, and you'll see in a moment some of the slides, there are some allowed non-residential developments at that location. And then as you go to the east, there is a further area that has the light green of Hillsborough County Residential 1, and that's a combination of agricultural uses and some large lot single-family homes. And this shows you how the map would change if it was ultimately approved by the Plant City Commission to match the gray color of the industrial uses to the north and to the west. So what is the potential? Currently, the property could develop in an unincorporated county with 9 dwelling units. Those residential entitlements would be lost if this plan amendment is approved. However, they would be allowed to build up to 210,000 square feet of industrial uses. So here's a little bit better aerial showing you the site. The property in question is shown by the red dot. To the south is some vacant land, and actually that's part of land that's further to the south that abuts US 92 or East Baker Street, and is currently being used for used car sales. There is, and I'll try to use a cursor here, there is one single-family home that's kind of tucked in here, and I do have some photos to share of that. As I already mentioned, over here to the east are some agricultural lands, pasture lands that are currently being used, and then as you continue to go further east, there's some large lot single-family homes, and we'll share some photos on that as well. There we go, a little technical difficulty there. This is the site that is part of the plan amendment. This is looking northwest at the plan amendment site from Charlie Taylor Road. And when I was out there, the road was being constructed. It has recently transitioned from a Hillsborough County road to a City of Plant City road and is going under extensive redesign to accommodate the industrial uses that are planned and programmed on both sides, east and west of this facility. This is looking south at Charlie Taylor Road towards 92. This is that single-family home that's kind of tucked in. It's not contiguous to the plan amendment, but it is in proximity to the plan amendment. And this is the used car lot that I noted earlier that it's on US 92. Not a lot of used cars for sale that day. Looking west, this is looking west on East Baker Street. This is an arterial. And this is just turning around looking east on East Baker Street. On the southern side is predominantly a railroad track and then some small lots that have a combination of commercial and industrial uses. And the same is on the north side. Most of these uses are actually been permitted and allowed by Hillsborough County. This is one street over to the east. This is looking north on Wiggins Road. And the interesting thing about this photo is you can see the large warehouse that is currently under construction in the foreground. Also, you can see a home in the foreground, and there's actually another home behind that. That was subject of a plan amendment about 1.5 years ago. That is actually controlled by the applicant, and their ultimate plans are to remove those homes and develop that into a retention area and further buffering for the homes that are on the other side of Wiggins Road. This is looking south on Wiggins Road, and you can see at this point there is some residential development. This is about a month ago, so I'm sure they've made some progress, but this is the warehouse that is predominantly being currently constructed on the site, and that this parcel would become part of that overall development. Our staff did review the request by the Imagine 2040 Plant City Comprehensive Plan. In particular, we looked at policies and objectives dealing with community development, enhance hometown charm, and those predominantly relate to the Northeast Master Plan, and I'll show you a graphic on that in a moment. Also look at their policies related to annexations, growth management, the provision of public facilities, and economic growth. Plant City is encouraging economic growth. They do not want to be a better community for Lakeland or Tampa. They want to offer employment opportunities to their citizens locally. This is the other map that I promised. This is actually a zoom in of the preferred land use scenario of the Northeast Master Plan, and it shows you that as part of that plan that was done back in 2007, this property was envisioned to be industrial. We did talk to the utilities department. They indicated to us that they do have water and sewer capacity to provide to this facility. There are wetlands present on the site, and those will be protected per the rules of the Environmental Protection Commission of Hillsborough County and also the City of Plant City. Typically, they require a 25-foot on average buffer from these once they're delineated at the site plan improvement stage. We did not receive any other significant comments from agencies. Chris has already gone over the timeline, but just a note, following this, we'll be having a presentation on a Wednesday morning at 8:30 at City Hall to the Plant City Planning Board to garner their input. Since the zoning is still in progress, we do not have a date determined when that will go in front of the City Commission for adoption. However, it will be renoticed with notices that we'll put in the mail to everyone within 250 feet, so everyone is aware of when that action is being taken. With that, Planning Commission staff recommends that PCCPA 22-01 it be found consistent with the goals, objectives, and policies of the Imagine 2040 Plant City Comprehensive Plan, and to forward this recommendation to the Plant City Commission. The applicant's agent is also here to respond to any questions.
Ready for me?
Yes, please, go ahead.
Good evening, Cammie Corbett with the law firm of Hill Ward Henderson representing the applicant. The applicant is the Sudler Companies. They acquired this parcel and all of the parcels to the north and to the east and the west, and the property is entitled for the Southern Oaks Business Park, which is 3 million square feet of industrial, and the applicant has just been acquiring some of the parcels, remnant parcels in the area to kind of square up their development. RPD rezoning for this will not be adding any entitlements. We're just going to be using it for an additional driveway and some other things. So we're here to answer any questions if you have any.
Thank you. We did not have anyone sign up for public comment on this item, so I will turn it over to the commissioners at this time for comments or questions. Discussions on this item. I am not seeing any lights go on. Going once, going twice. All right, I will close public comment and open it up to motions on this item from the commissioners. Commissioner Bernstein.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. At this time, I would move that we find Plant City Comprehensive Plan Amendment 2201 consistent with the goals, policies, and objectives of the Imagine 2040 Plant City Comprehensive Plan, and that we pass it along to the Plant City Commission for their consideration.
Right, that's a motion of consistency finding by Commissioner Bernstein. Commissioner Buzza, second. All right, we got a second to that motion by Commissioner Buzza. Is there any more discussion of this item or questions from the commissioners this time? Seeing none, I'll ask the clerk to go ahead and do a roll call vote on this item.
Bernstein?
Yes.
Buzza?
Yes.
Cardenas?
Yes.
Fernandez?
Yes.
Kress?
Yes.
Powell?
Yes.
Surya?
Yes.
Joseph?
Yes.
Motion carried 8-0.
Thank you. All right. I'd like to thank you, Mr. Hudson. Thank the applicant. Thank you, Ms. Kelly, for your time. That is the end of our meeting, our last action item. So with that, at 6:33, the meeting is adjourned. Good night, everyone.